Welcome to another interesting tutorial in Classy by Mavi. You're welcome if you are new here. If you're an old subscriber, thank you for always coming back. So in this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to draft and sew a rose sleeve. Okay, we've been here is this basic sleeve pattern. If you do not know how to draft this pattern, I'll be linking it for you to watch. Okay, you need to know how to draft a basic sleeve first. So in this rose sleeve tutorial, we'll be altering the basic sleeve to a rose sleeve pattern. So we have our back and front. We want to separate them first by cutting it through. So as you can see, I'm cutting the midpoint of our sleeve pattern, basic pencil sleeve pattern. Okay, I have done that. After doing that, the next thing is to get another pattern paper and fold it in a bias format. Can you see? A bias format simply means a triangular format. So I have folded in a triangular format, and now I'll be using one of the pattern to place like this. Okay, I'm using the back first. Since I have folded it into two, the bias format into two, I'll actually be cutting out back and front bias formats, okay? But I want to use the back first to align and cut out. As you can see, I'm already cutting it out, okay, with the back aligned and masked down with a masking tape. Here I am done cutting out the back. It's now time for me to separate the bias, okay, so that we have two. One side is supposed to be for the front. So I'll be separating it now, opening it up so that I separate the back from the front. Now it has been separated, so it's time for us to keep the back aside so we can align our front also. Okay, can you see? I'm here trying to align the front to this bias cut out pattern, okay, pattern paper. So I haven't aligned it. I'm here confirming if it's equal or well aligned as the back. Can you see? So the back and front are equal in the bias alignment, okay? So I'm now masking the front to stay, and then I'll just cut out the excess from the front also. So just watch me. I'm cutting out now. Can you see? So our patterns are ready, front and back patterns all ready. Can you see how beautifully aligned they are? I still want you to remember that this is just for one sleeve, okay? We are making this for one sleeve. For the other sleeve, you still need to do exactly the same thing, okay? Now it's time for us to transfer the patterns to fabric. Okay, so here is the fabric we'll be using. It is a crepe fabric. So I'll just be cutting it out in a singular format. I do not need to fold the fabric into two since I have separated the sleeves already. Okay, can you see? Separated back from front. So I'll just align it accordingly. Use my pins to pin it to the fabric. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm pinning the pattern paper to the fabric so it stays beautifully in place. Here I am done pinning in place and I will cut out. When you are doing yours, you can as well mark out the allowances first before cutting out, okay? For me, I'm just using my eye measurements to just cut out. For the M, I just gave 3/4 inch allowance. For every other part, I'm cutting with 1/2 inch of allowance. Now, this is a crepe fabric. That's the reason why I'm using 1/2 inch for the side of the sleeve. If you are making your sleeve, always use 1 inch allowance for the side seam, okay? Except you are using a stretchy fabric, just like I'm using now. Crepe is a little bit stretchy and I want it really fitted on my body, so that's the reason why I'm using just 1/2 inch for side seam. Okay, so I'll continue cutting out. I'll cut out with just 1/2 inch for every other part except for the M, just like I mentioned earlier. So the 1/2 inch will just fit nicely. Okay, so I'm continuing to cut. I'm cutting through until I'll be done cutting. So when you are doing yours, if it's not a stretchy fabric, use 1 inch for this side, okay, the side seam and the hem. Then for every other part, half an inch. So I'm just leveling what I've cut to ensure that everything is straight. So I am done cutting out the front, as you can see. So our front sleeve is ready. I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the back, and then we'll be done with our transfer to fabric process. Now here is the back. That means we are done, okay? Here is our front that we cut out first. Look at the front, look at the back. So we'll be joining them together like this. Now there's something I want to explain here, okay? If you're for your rows, if you want your rows to form, wherever you want your rows to form is where you face the triangle. Okay, look at me, look at mine here. I want the rows to form at this area, okay, this bicep area. That's the reason why the triangle is coming from this part. But in case you want your own rows to form on the shoulder area like this, that means the triangle will not be coming from this side, but rather the triangle will be coming from this other side, the upper side. So by the time you want to form the rows, it will form on the shoulder. Okay, so for me, I want my rows forming on the bicep, not on the shoulder, right? So mine will form on the bicep area here. So that's the concept I'm trying to create, okay, for the rows to be on the bicep. So having ascertained that, it's now time for us to remove the pins and then the pattern papers so we can start sewing. I'm here removing the pins. I'm done removing the pins for the one side. Okay, now I'm removing for the second side. I'm also done with that, and then I will now remove the pattern papers. I'm also done removing the pattern papers, so it's now time for us to sew. But before I sew, I'll need to iron, okay? This is a crepe fabric, and as you can see, it is folding. I'll iron, but before then, I want to show you how I will sew. I'll hold them together like this, and then I'll start sewing from this shoulder area, okay? I'll sew all over the triangular format from here, like this, down, okay? So that's how I will be sewing. So like I've mentioned before, I'll iron so that everything will be smooth before I'll go ahead and sew. So dear creatives, I'm done ironing. Can you see how beautiful it is? Always iron your fabric before you sew. In fact, iron before you even cut out, okay? For me, I did not iron before transferring to fabric because of the tutorial, okay? Because it's just a tutorial. Now, after ironing, this is how I'll be aligning it. Can you see this point? This point that is notched. This is the part at which you'll be joining the shoulder to the dress, to the shoulder of the dress, okay? So I'll be sewing this way, from the shoulder down to the hem, okay? Now we know how we want to sew. Let me show you where we will be placing our rows. This is the base, okay? This is the base of our sleeve. This base was cut out with exactly the basic sleeve pattern. As you can see, exactly the basic sleeve pattern, okay? There was no alteration, but I stopped. I did not cut out all long. I stopped here because I do not want the sleeve to be too heavy. So now let's go over to the machine and sew. Now it's time to sew. Remember to face right sides to each other and the wrong sides outside. That's what I'm doing. Here I have my wrong side here and then the wrong side here, all facing outside. So I'm sewing on the wrong side. Okay, just watch me as I sew. After aligning, I'm simply sewing. So here I'm done sewing. Let's go over to the table and then proceed. So after sewing, we will first of all remove excess fabrics and then we clip, especially at this curved area, right? So here I am removing excess fabrics first. Okay, I'm just trimming off so that the allowance there will be short enough. Okay, so that by the time I flip over, the sleeve will be relaxed. Now I'm inserting my clips. I'm clipping very close to the seam line, but not cutting through the seam line. Okay, so I'm done clipping the curved area, so I want to continue trimming off excess allowances. Can you see I trimmed off this way at this edge, and then I'm trimming off the sides too. Now I'm totally done trimming off excesses and clipping through. Now let's flip over. I'm just trying to bring out that sharp point using my scissors. Okay, you can actually use anything at your disposal. For me, I'm just maneuvering with my scissors so the sharp point can come out nicely. Okay, so I'm still trying to bring it out. Now I am done. Can you see? So this is our sleeve. This is our sleeve. Back and front joined together nicely. Okay, so you remember our base. We will now be placing this part on the base. Okay, we'll place it on the base where we'll be forming our rose. Can you see the base here? Can you see the base? The first thing I need to do here is to mark, to place a notch at the midpoint of the shoulder area of this base. Can you see? So I have placed my notch. This is just for me to know the middle of the base. So having notched the midpoint of the base, I'm here aligning the rose part to the base. And then I'll pin down with my pins. I'll pin all over. I've pinned and I'll go over to the sewing machine to sew all round. Like this until I'm done sewing. Now as you can see, we are also done sewing. Can you see? I'm done sewing, so I'll be removing the pins now. So after removing the pins, then we'll proceed. Okay, here I'm done removing the pins, so it's now time for us to form our rose. Okay, can you see the base? That's the base, and here is the part we'll be forming the rose on the base. So at this point, you just need to arrange the rose according to how you want. Try as much as possible to be creative. There is no rigid way of doing this, right? So I'm just here trying to do my own style, trying to be creative. So the major thing we want to do is, after arranging it exactly how we want, we'll pin it down first. We'll pin it down. That's, we'll pin the rose to the base, okay? Then we use our needle and matching thread. Matching thread simply means same color thread. A thread that has the same color with your fabric. With your hand sewing needle, you just tack it nicely. Okay, if you do not know how to tack, you need to learn, so your sleeve will come out very neat. However, for the sake of this tutorial, I'll just use my pin to hold it to stay in place for you to see the outcome first. Okay, so here I'm still arranging. You just need to take your time. Can you see how beautiful it is? So at this point, I'll be using my pins to hold it in place, okay? This arrangement I've made, I'll just hold it in place using my pin before I'll tack. If I go ahead to tack, instead of pinning it down first, okay, the beautiful arrangement might scatter. Okay, I do not want it scattered, so that's why I'm pinning it. So the major target is pinning it to the base, okay? So I'll just be doing this carefully until I'm done. So here I'm just continuing the tacking, okay? Ensuring that it is held in place with the base, okay? So like I mentioned earlier already, I do not want it shifting. I do not want the already arranged rows shifting by the time I want to tack with my needle and matching thread. That's the reason why I am pinning down first according to the arrangement. Okay, so as you can see, it is becoming finer as I arrange. Just know that in this, you just need your creativity. You just need to be creative and unique. You do not need to do exactly what someone else has done before, but you just need to come out with your own creativity. Arrange the roses according to how you feel is beautiful for you to behold, right? Okay, so I'm still arranging, pinning to stay. At this point, if you have learned anything from this video, do not hesitate to click on that subscribe button. Please subscribe to the channel and encourage us to do more. If you are an old subscriber, thank you for always coming back to watch our videos. We are encouraged and we are really grateful. To our newcomers, please subscribe and stay with us. Be a part of the Classy family. So here we teach with simplicity everything about fashion. Okay, can you see I am done, and I've also gone over to the machine to sew the sleeve by the side. Okay, now what I want to do is to simply turn this over. As you already know, we still have our pins there, so I'll try as much as possible to be careful. Okay, so I'm carefully flipping it over. Can you see our sleeve? Can you see how beautiful the sleeve is? What I'll do, I'll just prepare the second sleeve exactly the same way and then complete it on my dress. However, I want you to see it on a mannequin to check it out, to check out the finished result. So dear creatives, here is our beautiful rose sleeve. If you have learned anything from this video, do well to subscribe to the channel to support us to do more.